Remember, Lance Corporal Matt Croucher has not been awarded a George Cross for killing the Taliban, but for risking his life to save his comrades by lying on top of an exploding grenade. I can only assume that if one of the failed 21st of July London suicide bombers had been in the council chamber last Tuesday, Councillor Yaqoob would have been demanding the council applaud the failed suicide bomber for their past heroic actions. Well, earlier, Salma Yaqoob gave us her reactions to the claims.
First of all, I totally reject the labelling of extremist. I think it's quite dangerous that when people choose to make a political point, that they're branded extremists in this manner. And I think it's important to have the context. This was our political chamber, it was a council chamber, it was an official council meeting where all the parties were debating issues of the day. And at that point, to stand with those very same politicians who I believe are hypocritical and cry crocodile tears when they invoke the bravery of our servicemen and women, I did not want to be associated with them. So my action was directed at the politicians and certainly not at Matt Croucher, who I believe is a hero for the actions he took in being selfless in relation to his comrades. But I truly reject the conflation of these two things, and I think our politicians for far too long use the bravery of our men and women almost as a human shield to deflect from their moral and public duty to question the premise on which they put them in harm's way in the first place.
But you've talked about his bravery and you've acknowledged his bravery, so why not in a situation like this applaud his bravery, because that's what you're being asked to do. The politics is for another occasion entirely.
Well, I believe that we have commemorative ceremonies, that's what their purpose is. We have the funeral parades in Wootton Bassett, and those are the places and times where we show our appreciation and as a mark of our respect. To bring it into the political chamber, I think, was inappropriate. And for me to stand shoulder to shoulder with the very politicians who are criticised for their hypocritical stance, I would have been aligned with them, and I refuse to be aligned with them. And I also reject that they are trying to attach this as some commentary on the brave soldier himself. I reject that.
Well, let me just explore the timing momentarily, because one of the other councillors who's been critical of what you did, Conservative John Lyons, said this was not the time or place to stage an anti-war protest. This man risked his life for his comrades. By not applauding, aren't you introducing politics into a situation which was otherwise just acknowledging the bravery of one individual?
Actually, it was in a political context. As I said, it was our council chamber. This was not a church, this was not a special hall, this was not a dedicated ceremony. And by bringing this into the political arena, I believe they're trying to make political capital. In fact, Councillor Lyons himself, in the next breath, then referred to local elections and how people should vote in the light of this. They are making political capital. And for them to insist on people displaying their appreciation in ways that they dictate, I don't think is right. I have every right to show my appreciation and admiration in the way that I choose to, and I do that consistently. Just last month I received an email from a mother whose son had returned injured from Afghanistan. I contacted her to show my sympathy and wish her and her family the best. I kept politics out of it. That's, I think, the right thing to do. We have to have a humane response when dealing with these issues. But at the same time, we cannot ignore the fact it's our politicians who are making the decisions to send our soldiers into Afghanistan, and they are actually abdicating their duties because all the main parties, Labour, Conservative and Lib Dems, are all arguing for continuation of war.
Okay.
And this is the right context and the right platform in our council chamber where the parties are coming together to debate issues to make that point. It was directed at the politicians and not at the soldier.
That was Salma Yaqoob talking.